All right, everyone, what's going on? Oh, excuse me, 1 second. Had my phone on. Merry Christmas, everyone. Hope everyone had a good holiday. Hopefully, the day back to work hasn't been too bad. As you can see, we're going to be ranking, some Dr. Stone arcs. We caught up to what will be part 1 of Season 4. So while we wait for Season 4, I think it's only appropriate that we look at the series, rank the arcs, do that as we prepare to witness what will be the final season of the Dr. Stone anime. I think it'll be a lot of fun. I think there'll be a lot of surprises for sure. Looking at the arcs, it was kind of crazy how, like, as far as, I guess, arc length, it makes like a bell curve. Like, there's a lot of little arcs in the beginning, then towards the middle, it's like a bunch of big arcs, and then towards the end, there's a lot of little arcs. Imagine working, well, you know, part of being a professional anime YouTuber is not having a job, so, you know, I get that one. Some amazing moments for characters. Oh yeah, for sure. I'm really excited to see all of the stuff for Season 4 get animated. Like, it's gonna be crazy. Even just in part 1. Part 2 will be life-changing. And then part 3 will be bittersweet. We got Justin in the chat. Justin, how you doing today? Hope you had a good Merry Christmas. A good Merry Christmas. NEET for life. Hey man, I don't have time for a life. I'm too busy watching anime and reading manga. I will admit today's been kind of a lazy day personally. So if you also had all kinds of plans to get done stuff today and you partied a little too hard yesterday, let's just say you're not alone. If you're an NEET for life, how will you cope without money eventually? Well, look, man, we're anime fans. We're smarter than everyone else. I'm not going to go ahead and say we're better than everyone else, but we are smarter than everyone else. So we know how to make that money. Whether it's selling art or selling feet pics, we know how to make money. Dr. Zeno better have a good voice actor. Well, they released the teaser for Season 4, so you can go see what Dr. Zeno. I recognize the voice. I would have to look up who it is and who they've played, but it's not somebody who's completely brand new or anything. Excuse me. Bears are going to get clapped by the Seahawks. Yeah, that's going to be a giant waste of the game. I felt bad for the Texans. I knew the Texans were going to have a tough time yesterday. I knew the Texans were going to have a hard time after their last game, but I didn't think they were going to lose that bad. I personally was busy cooking, so I wasn't really watching that game. I just kind of looked, saw the score, and I was like, yikes. We'll give everyone another minute or so before we get started. What's something everyone got for Christmas? I know we're not all children here, obviously, but what's something everyone got for Christmas that they absolutely love? I got a new pair of slippers. I got a pair of memory foam slippers, which I'm actually wearing right now. I have already put those to good use. Treasure Island should be high up. Yeah, excuse me. Treasure Island is definitely, it's at least A tier. I don't know that I would put it in S tier, but definitely A tier at the very least. Oh, you got Star Wars games? Was it which games were they? Was it like the Lego games, or was it like the EA Battlefront games? I'm guessing the Star Wars Lego games, but I have no idea. It was the right. So I don't have a Switch. Could you tell me which games are in the Heritage Pack? Like, is it the Battlefront games? Is it the Lego games? They've made so many Star Wars games. I really am not sure which ones would be in it. Anyway, we got our tier list. I did not do the canon sagas or parts that Dr. Stone goes by, because some of those are really short and some of those are really long. So to make it a little more even out, I went by the fan arcs on the Dr. Stone wiki, which for the most part everyone agrees on. So in the bundle they have Force Unleashed, great game. Knights of the Old Republic, have not played, but I know that's supposed to be good. Republic Commando, I don't think I've played that one. Star Wars Racer, Jedi Outcast, and Jedi Academy. So I know the Knights of the Old Republic games are supposed to be really good. I have not played those, but Force Unleashed is really good. So yeah, that seems like a cool bundle. Good for you, man. I didn't really... Was the volume so low? Can you not hear me? Should be okay to hear me better now. Excuse me. If people can't hear my voice, let me know and I'll turn up the volume. Like Luke, everybody else, can you hear my voice okay? Anyway, let's go ahead and get into the tier list. Excuse me. So the first arc would be... I have to go by the wiki if you give me a second. Here we go. The Stone Formula arc, which is the first 4 chapters. So I've heard we can hear you. It was just whispery. Okay. Justin can hear it too. Okay. Yeah, if you can't tell, I'm still a little groggy from yesterday. So I don't have jumping off the walls energy today. So again, for any of you who are feeling lazy today, I'm right there with you. Anyway, so the first arc, the Stone Formula arc, is the first 4 chapters. So the first 2 or 3 arcs of Dr. Stone, I've heard very divided opinions on. Obviously that first season of Dr. Stone is very iconic. It came out in the summer of 2019 along with Fire Force. It was hugely popular. Probably one of, if not the most popular anime of that season. I also, if I'm not mistaken, I think The Promised Neverland came out that season as well. So it might have been Promised Neverland. But Dr. Stone was up there. But I've heard over the course of covering Dr. Stone, talking about Dr. Stone, I've heard people say that episode 1 and chapter 1 are either like the best first episode or the best first chapter they've ever seen, or they're like, yeah, it was confusing, I didn't like it. And part of it is it does this weird thing where it almost tricks you into thinking Taiju is going to be Promised Neverland was winter 2019. Okay, so that was after. So maybe it was Dr. Stone. Anyway, so Dr. Stone tricks you into thinking Taiju might be the main character in that first chapter. And then, of course, you find out Senku is the main character. So that first episode for some people can feel kind of confusing. But it's one of the most interesting first chapters, first episodes. We'll go by, I know I keep switching, but I'll try to keep it manga specific. I don't know that it's the best first chapter I've ever read, but it's gotta be top 10 simply because it does such a good job of hooking you in like clearly establishing what the premise of the story is going to be about. Like, it doesn't give you a vague idea. You're like, this is what the genre is, this is the kind of characters you're getting, and this is what the story is about. It's very clear, and what you sign up for is exactly what you are reading about 2, 3, 10, 20 volumes later, which very few manga can keep up consistently. So I would place the first arc, the first 4 chapters, in A tier, if I can find it. Here we go. Excuse me. Treasure Island is S tier because Suika is my favorite character. Fair. Chrome Peak character, also fair. We might have to do, maybe next week we'll do a Dr. Stone character tier list. If you are interested in a Dr. Stone character tier list for next week, do like a thumbs up emoji in the chat. Anyway, so this brings us to the Versus Tsukasa arc next. Yes, Versus Tsukasa. So that's chapters 5 through 12. And these first 2 arcs make up it's either part 1 or part 0, which is the prologue. Part 2 is, or excuse me, the second arc is good, but it does kind of get somewhat... Bro, skipping my comments? What did you say? The best scene in all Dr. Stone is Chrome standing up to Senku, telling him he refuses to take his knowledge and let him go die to get sulfuric acid. Yeah, that was a good scene. That was like a randomly high stakes episode, but it did a lot for Chrome and Senku and their dynamic. I remember, yeah, because Senku was like, no, above that. Let me take a look. 1 second. Wish Ryusui never appeared. He took way too much screen time from Chrome. I don't think that's true at all. I think that is objectively false. Chrome, not only is Chrome more important than Ryusui, um, I think Chrome gets way more important moments than Ryusui. Not to say that Ryusui doesn't get important moments; he gets a ton of them, but I think Chrome gets way more, especially in the second half of the story. So yeah, the second arc of Dr. Stone, it does a really good job of building suspense, and it does a really good job of introducing Tsukasa. And part of why I fell in love with Dr. Stone early on is because I really fell in love with the philosophical dilemma between Senku and Tsukasa. But that being said, it is somewhat convoluted, for a lack of a better term. I'll rewrite it for you. Treasure Island is C tier for me. Never understood the hype. L villain, no Tsukasa, barely any Chrome, just a bore fest. So I can appreciate that because when season 3 dropped, a lot of people, when season 3 came out, I should say, a lot of people dropped Dr. Stone. So I can't ignore the fact that a lot of people feel like Dr. Stone lost some of its magic following that season 2 stuff, like the Stone Wars. That being said, I think Treasure Island at its worst is B tier. I think Abara is a great villain. I think taking Tsukasa out of the story completely changed Dr. Stone for the better, so that he could come back eventually and be an even better character. And I think they balance. Oddly enough, I think Treasure Island is where they really hit the nail on the head with like balancing screen time for characters. But going back to the second arc, I'm going to put it in B tier. Actually, as a matter of fact, I'm going to go so far as to put it in C tier. And for C tier is not bad. C tier is like the cutoff between bad and like really good. So C tier is like, it's good. Tsukasa is a great villain, but I liked Treasure Island villain. He's not the best, but good. Yeah, I feel like that's part of the problem too, right? Because if you fall in love with Dr. Stone, a lot of it is likely because you like Tsukasa's unique role as a villain and how he presents this like philosophical dilemma. Whereas Abara doesn't really pose a philosophical dilemma. He's just a really good psychological challenge for Senku, or a mental challenge for Senku. He's not like this philosophical anti-villain. He's just a classically evil dude who's really smart. So if you like the whole anti-villain thing with Tsukasa, then it does feel like a bit of a letdown with Abara. So the next arc would be, if I can find it, it should be Ishigami Village. Kingdom of Science arc. That's what it's called. So I would put this arc, I would say this is probably, so hold on. This puts us, give me 1 second. So let's look at Viz for a second. So this, or excuse me, I'm jumping all over the place here. So this is Senku meeting Ishigami Village, getting iron and all that stuff, getting the magnet. Shadow Alliance, I'm guessing, is Gen. Building the lab, the sulfuric acid, and getting the chemicals. So I would probably put that arc. I'd probably put that arc in B tier. Like, it's definitely better than the versus Tsukasa stuff, but I wouldn't say it's like crazy good. Kingdom of Science arc is an SA tier arc. I would say it's high B tier. I think it's really good, but it's not like crazy good. I think it's later in the whole Ishigami Village saga where you start to get some of the more iconic moments. On that note, where are we? I would place... Oh, is this the Village Games arc? So keep in mind, I'm trying to keep this all relative to the arcs of Dr. Stone. So let's see. So I would probably put... I changed my mind. I put the... What the hell do they call it? The Kingdom of Science arc in A tier. And I would put the Village Games arc in B tier. I'm thinking about this. I don't know if I like that. Chat, what do you think? I'm 3 for 3 with opinions. All right. I can respect that. Appreciate that. What's my opinion on the end of Dr. Stone? Senku wanting time travel, blah, blah, blah. Hold that question until the end of the stream, because we are going to get into the final arc. So I feel it's only appropriate that we talk about that stuff when I get to that arc. But generally, I'll give you... So the Spark Notes is that I really like that arc, and I think it's underrated. So then we have the the Village Origins arc. That is definitely A tier. Thank you, Bukon, for the subscription. Pleasure to have you aboard. What else? So I believe it would be... Oh, no. So the next one is the Versus Hyoga arc. I would give this one B tier. I think that is a cool fight, but I mean, it's fairly short, considering. And as cool as Hyoga is, and as cool of moments as we do get in that arc, it's, you know, it's whatever. Totally fair. The problem with the Village Games is that it's too short and mostly focuses on fights. Exactly. I would put Tournament, also hi Party Jams, Merry Christmas. I would put Tournament at low B. It's fun and cool, but it's an isolated arc. Yeah, exactly. Um, that's that mostly describes how I feel about the versus Hyoga arc. Village Origins has to be S tier because it's one of only 2 times Senku cries. What counts as versus Hyoga? Just the fight itself. So versus Hyoga is listed on the wiki as chapters 46 through 50. So it's like right after when they're having like a party and Hyoga's group attacks. Hyoga's group attacks. And then what is chapter 50? Chapter 50 to the present. Chapter 50. That's a good question. Okay, so yeah, it's literally just the fight against Hyoga. Because it's right after they fight Hyoga that Senku's like, okay, let's invent the telephone. So then the next one, of course, is it's not called Stone Wars. I think it's called the communication fight. What are we calling it? Yeah, communications arc. So I would put this, and this is definitely going to be a point of contention. I would put the Stone Wars / communication arc I'm going to put that in high A tier. Because I think it's really, really good. It does a great job of like doing fights without fights. We get all of the great new characters and character dynamics. We see Tsukasa at his highest and lowest. We get the huge betrayal from Hyoga. We get Tsukasa's backstory. We get the analogy with Dynamite. We get that super emotional moment with Tsukasa when they have to put him to sleep. But it doesn't quite have the wow factor. Although, I'll say this. I will put it in S tier. But I think it's like low S tier, and you'll see what I mean. But if it does go in high, if it goes in A tier, it definitely stays in like high A tier and nothing less. I think it's an underrated arc of Dr. Stone. But that brings us to Age of Exploration, which I will put an A tier below Village Origins. I think it's really fun. I think it's like that slice of life Dr. Stone stuff that I really like, but it's also low stakes, low tension. You get a bunch of new characters, but it's very fast, and it's sort of like a transition arc. So yeah, I'd put it in like high A tier, below Village Origins and everything else. The only real memorable moments in Versus Yoga are Suika leading Yoga's forces away, the katanas, and the introduction of cell phones. Yeah, it feels like too short of an arc for me, but I am purely going by the wiki, because in a perfect world, I would just go by the canon parts of Dr. Stone, which I believe there's technically 5 of them, but they're so unevenly long that it would be kind of hard to fairly rank them for the purposes of a tier list. So I feel like going by the arcs provided by the wiki make it a little more easy to evenly distribute things. For me, it depends on if we're talking anime or manga. In the anime, exploration was great, but in the manga, it felt rather slow. Yeah, that's fair. I would definitely say it's better in the anime. Side note, Party Jams and Ouji, everyone I've watched the anime with have enjoyed Dr. Stone. I don't really think you can watch Dr. Stone and dislike it. I think you either watch the first episode and decide it's just not for you, which is not the same as disliking it. Or you get to about Stone Wars, or like the early parts of the Age of Exploration, and you're like, this isn't really what I signed up for. But I think anyone who gets past season 2 generally enjoys Dr. Stone. On that note, that brings us to Treasure Island, which I am going to put in S tier, and I am going to put above Stone Wars. Not sure if you saw this comment, Ouji, but Tsukasa's backstory being foreshadowed at the beginning of the series was a stroke of genius from Inagaki. Yeah, he does a really good job of like laying the framework for it, because it's definitely in all of Tsukasa's, like his personality and his mannerisms and like the way he treats people, and like it clearly governs his entire philosophy. But once you finally see the backstory, you have that like eureka moment of like, oh, this makes so much more sense. But yeah, Treasure Island S tier, great characters, great new character introductions. It's like the first time Senku is like truly psychologically challenged, like mentally let's not use that word. He's forced into a mental battle unlike ever before. And it's like the first time Kohaku gets like a fight where she's like truly, challenged for the first time. What's up, new to the channel? I'm trying to start an anime channel. I tried years ago, but got tired of toxic fans. Cool. Pleasure to have you. Welcome, Z-Files. We're just talking some Dr. Stone. Glad you're enjoying the content. But yeah, we're just ranking Dr. Stone arcs. Luke, my favorite arc is in S tier. I wouldn't myself, but I know Treasure Island is a favorite for many fans. For me, the anime helped bring it to a low A, but it's still below Stone Wars for me. Yeah, it might be recency bias because I've been watching season 3. Stone Wars and Treasure Island, for me at least, are very close to each other. So it kind of depends on what day you catch me. Treasure Island, I definitely agree with Luke. Treasure Island has everything. I've said this before. Treasure Island is kind of the epitome of like what makes Dr. Stone Dr. Stone. The first one with Zeno and Stanley is the best for me. I like the anime more, so it would be number 1 once it's here. So I have to agree with that. I really like North America, but I think South America is so much better, especially since after just rereading North America is really, really good, but it does not have the same wow factor as South America at all. Like, it's not even close. The hype train, the hype train that builds up from the end of North America, to the end of South America is unbelievable. So as good, and at this point, I think I can take North America. I'm going to put North America, and this is a hot take. I'm gonna put North America at S tier. Let's do this. So I have that. South America right there. So South America, way better than North America. So I call South America like the HBO of Dr. Stone. I mean, it really should be like a dark 90s anime. I mean, it's crazy intense. It's the most violent arc of the entire series. I almost thought like that was it. Like, this is where the story ends, but it's crazy intense. It has almost all of the best character moments in the story. I mean, it's just crazy good. The end of South America was peak. I still need to finish the manga. I'm like 30 chapters from the end. So, Jake, on that note, keep in mind that we will be talking about the end of the manga as we get into the next 3 arcs. So, in the next minute or two, you may want to leave the stream and come back. But I agree. The end of South America is peak. The arc that's adapted in season 3 is easily the best to me, but that's from the perspective of an anime only fan. Yeah, so before I thought Stone Wars was better than Treasure Island, but as I digested it more, I only gained more and more appreciation for Treasure Island. So Treasure Island and Stone Wars for me are kind of like neck and neck, but as of December 26th, 2024, Ouji's opinion is that Treasure Island is like one step better. South America is great, but Suika's survival arc, you can't deny just how big of a moment that is for her. Yes, that is really good. Arguably one of the best moments in all of Dr. Stone. Let's see where that would technically fall under. Stone Wars, Truth of Petrification. Yeah, so that would be the new Stone World arc. So Luke, you might hate me for this, but I'm going to put that below South America. Only because, like we said before, it's just, as a matter of fact, I'm going to put that high A tier. Only because it's such a short arc that it really shouldn't even constitute being an arc. Like, it's not even, what is it, 7 chapters? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's exactly 7 chapters. Boom. Senku level genius right there. It's so short that it really doesn't even constitute being an arc. So as much as I love the Suika moment, if you take the totality of god level moments in South America, just mathematically speaking, South America is just a better arc. Now, if we get into like best moments in Dr. Stone, then it's like, well, come on, Suika moment S tier. But if we're talking, if we're talking arcs of Dr. Stone, nobody really goes, oh yeah, the Suika arc. It's like, no. Like, if it was South America and the Suika stuff was part of South America, easily. But it's like its own little arc in transition to all of the new part stuff. I can't deny that. Yeah, I'm just a man of science. I hate to deliver the truth, but that's what I do. Will season 4 be the last season? Excuse me. Anyway, will season 4 be the last season? Yes. They confirmed that season 4 will be 3 cores and it will adapt the entire rest of the manga. And you have to understand. So let's look at the manga, right? Or let's look at this. So where are we? So North America is only 30 chapters. So for 12 episodes, that means like just over 2 chapters an episode, which is like textbook Dr. Stone pacing. So then South America is 23 chapters or 24 chapters, which is even less. That's exactly 2 episodes, or 2 chapters an episode. So depending on where they end Core 2, that could be 30 chapters or that could be like 24. So then for Part 3, that's roughly chapter 200 to chapter 230. So Part 3, you could have as close to like, or as much as like 40 chapters, which would be something like 4 chapters or close to 4 chapters an episode in the 3rd core, depending on how many episodes it is. Which for Dr. Stone is a lot. So for a part of the manga, which is already largely criticized for rushed pacing, I'm curious to see how they adapt all the stuff in Part 3 of season 4. But that being said, when you look at what's left, there's 30, 30, and 40. So there's only 100 chapters left for 3 cores. So at roughly 33 chapters per 3 12-episode cores, that's like 2.5 chapters per episode. So that's it. That's perfect. So, yeah. As far as adapting the epilogue chapters. Maybe they'll do a special episode or like a movie, but I don't really know how they would do that. So we have 2 arcs left. We have the globe-trotting arc, and then we have the moon battle arc, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so we have globe-trotting, and then we have moon mission. So, where are we? I'm going to put globe-trotting as good as it can be. I'm going to put it top of B tier. I think it has a lot of cool moments, like meeting Sai and going to all the different countries. And then I believe this is where we have the computer as well. But that being said, it is a mess of an arc. The pacing is all over the place. And for the whole time, I just remember being like, what the F is going on with this story? Yeah, the missed potential arc. That's right. Remember when everyone thought Dr. Stone was going to be another 100 chapters and they were actually going to spend time building the cities, and then Inagaki was like, haha, just kidding. So yeah, I won't say any more spoilers than that, but I think top of B tier is more than fair for globetrotting. Globetrotting teased me. Yeah, I remember that. We were talking about where we thought they were going to go for certain resources, and England was on that list, but they were like, just kidding. And then we have the moon battle, which I will put the moon battle top of A tier. So again, for all of my Suika fans, namely Luke, I don't necessarily think all of that arc is better than the Suika stuff, but oh, that's awkward. There we go. But as an arc, I think it's better. So the final arc of Dr. Stone was also equally as divisive as the globetrotting arc, but I think as an ending to the manga, it's really solid. I think it's a solid, like, not tier list, but like just in general. I think it's a solid like B plus or A. Like, I think it's 7 out of 10, no lower than 6 out of 10. That's a hot take right there. I respect it. The moon battle was a great note to end on. No, yeah, for sure. I don't think it's S tier just because of all the problems it has, but I think it's top of A tier. I do think its biggest problem is just the way it teases so much and builds up all of this tension that doesn't really get executed on well. Like, I feel like they put so much weight into picking the team that went to the moon, only for that to not really matter so much. And again, I probably am a minority in this opinion, but like, I feel like they really could have picked anybody and it would have turned out the same. Which is a shame. But that being said, the very final stuff of Dr. Stone, like with all the space age technology that I won't mention again, and what they do with all the characters, I think it's done perfectly. But as far as how they handle the moon battle and the build up to it, I think that was also a huge missed opportunity. I agree that it ends on a solid note. I mean, it could have been so much worse. It could have been so much worse, but it also could have been better, considering arcs like South America. Is Y-Man an alien? Yes or no, would you like me to tell you? because I will spoil you. No spoiler? Well, spoilers are they are a liberty. They are a God-given right. So, if you want to get spoiled, you can get spoiled. But I do need some consent on that matter. Did Dr. Stone fall off after season 2? No, it only gets better. How are we feeling about this tier list? How would we change this tier list? No, it didn't. Best is yet to come. I couldn't agree more, Party Jams. I think season 4 has all of the potential to be the best season. I read the end when it came out. I just forgot. Okay. So, in that case, anyone who hasn't seen the end of Dr. Stone, spoiler coming in 3, 2, 1. Okay, yes. Y-Man is an alien. Anyway, Luke says it's a solid tier list. So, Luke, I know you would move the new Stone World arc, but would you move anything in my tier list? My only issue, I feel a tier list should ideally be more balanced, but that's hard to do with your favorites. Yeah, and also, so I don't really feel like Dr. Stone has any real bad arcs. So I have a problem putting anything lower than B tier. But as far as the top tier stuff, I could maybe move some of the A tier stuff into B tier. Stone Wars, again, I'm caught on. I feel like Treasure Island and Stone Wars are arguably right on the border between A tier and S tier. But yeah, I think this is generally what it should look like. I know some minor spoiler. Hold on. Of course, YouTube gets rid of my comment. I know some minor spoiler, but I am gaslighting myself into believing that they are fake. No comment. Luke said, I would say put Globetrotter from down to C tier, because aside from Psy in the computer and the magma moment, it just teased us way too much. Yeah. Let's do... Where do I have it? So I would honestly put it... I would put it bottom B tier. Because C tier is that cutoff between, good and really good. Right? These arcs are so we have Versus Yoga, Village Games, and Globetrotting. These arcs are yeah, they feel hype at some points, but, they're whatever. C tier is I don't know how I feel about that one. So with Globetrotting, I feel like it's just in the same neighborhood as Village Games and Versus Yoga. Will Senku invent a nuke? No comment. Globetrotting does feel C tier. Same with Yoga. Non-arcs can be C tier in my opinion. Yeah. Maybe if we come back to this after season 4, I might pick apart the A tier and B tier stuff. But for now, I'm pretty happy with this. So on that note, I think this is a good point to wrap things up. So Hopefully everyone checked out the Dawn to Dawn video that dropped today. If not, make sure to check that out. Nothing going on tomorrow. Saturday will be a new Bleach video, so make sure to check that out. Sunday will be another Shonen Jump stream, and then 1 or 2 more videos before the new year. And then starting in January, we will be rolling out channel memberships. So make sure to look out for those in the next couple of weeks. But thank you again, everyone. Had a great conversation. Looking forward to Dr. Stone Season 4. Hope you had a great holiday, and I look forward to hearing from you all soon.